The Frank Haith Show, brought to you by Don Thornton Cadillac, Pepsi, River Spirit, TTCU, the credit union, and St. Francis Health System. And now your host, Bruce Howard.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Frank Haith Show. I'm Bruce Howard, joined by the head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, Frank Haith. And if there's anything we learn about the American Athletic Conference, life is tough in the AAC, and it was a tough week, wasn't it?
It was. You know, we had a really tough game here against Cincinnati Ball Club, which I thought we played well enough to win the game. And then you have to turn around and go play on the road 48 hours later at SMU, who's, you know, a talented team. So I thought our guys, you know, it was a tough week because we didn't compete like we needed to in Dallas, but I thought we had a tough one here against Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Team played awfully well in the Cincinnati game, just didn't turn out the way TU wanted. In a moment, we'll be back and we'll take a look at Tulsa, Cincinnati here at the Reynolds Center in a moment. We're back on the Frank Haith Show. The University of Tulsa playing host to powerhouse Cincinnati. And, Coach, I don't think there's any question. You went in hoping your team would match the physicality of Cincinnati, and I think largely you did that, didn't you?
We did. I think we out-rebounded them, and that was the key going into the game based on what we've been playing South Florida and Houston before that. We knew it was going to be a focus, and I thought we competed with great intensity.
Yeah, no doubt. And you knew it was going to be not only the physicality and that sort of thing, but you'd also have to make shots, and you'd have to play good defense against that Cincinnati team.
Yeah, because that's what they do. They play D. You know that shots going to come by, but you had to hold them down.
Absolutely. University of Tulsa taking on Cincinnati. Been some great games at the Reynolds Center between these two teams. And as we look in the early going, TU with the basketball, and Daquan Jeffries would eventually pop free and knock in a three for you.
Yeah, and we knew we were going to have to do well from the outside against these guys because they do such a good job swarming to the ball once you got it in the paint. There you can see us kind of driving a little bit, and they get three guys in there. But that was a good, tough shot there by Lawson off the bounce. Yeah,
Lawson with a nice job for the Hurricane, and Tulsa down by 1. Now you're down by 8 as they had the early advantage, and there was that double and triple teaming on Martin Zigbanu.
Well, actually Simon, they double Simon there, and they double anybody who gets the ball in the paint. They swarm like that, so you got to be able to make plays.
And a steal for Tulsa, and TU with an opportunity to cut into that lead.
And that's good, sharing the basketball, spacing, getting to those spots, and I like how we shared the ball there and it got an open three.
And Jariah Horn continues to do a very nice job for you in knocking in shots, and obviously for TU, as you mentioned, a little bit of some early offense for you, and it results in an open shot.
Yeah, and you see, we squads them in transition, got the ball in the paint, but we played under control there.
Jariah Horn continues to develop his offensive game, doesn't he?
Yes, and need it. And here's a good face-up by him and really good shot. And he's got such a soft touch.
And he is kind of a triple threat guy, isn't he, once he gets the ball and faces up?
He is.
And here is Sterling Taplin.
Good moving without the ball, drive by Elijah, finding him and spacing away, and a good knockdown.
So the Hurricane late in the first half, getting that lead down to 2. Your score at halftime is Cincinnati 28, Tulsa 26. What are your thoughts at half, do you think?
Well, I thought we battled, and I thought we held them to 28 points. Obviously, we know scoring is going to be hard to come by. It was the kind of game I expected it to be.
And you see the rebounding advantage at that point. You really had done a nice job on the boards, and you would continue to do that in the second half.
Yeah, we knew that was important. We only gave them 3 offensive rebounds there in the first half, and that was key.
Too many turnovers, though, as you look at that number 10 number, and you clean that up a little bit in the second half until probably about the last minute to go. But here's some early offense for you.
Good transition, ball ahead, nice shot by Kern right there at the 3.
And Curran would add to that as you don't leave him open if you're the defender.
As you can see, a lot of these buckets we're getting here early are secondary break transition type buckets in transition, where we're moving the ball quickly once we get the ball in the front court.
It's a nice pass inside and then a good cut.
Good cut by Jariah, nice pass by Lawson. I think he ended up with 5 assists. That was a nice job there.
And it seems like Jariah gets points in bunches of 5. You know, he'll get a 2 and then he'll get a 3 like here.
You know, I think that was a good pass out by Martins because they swarmed in there, and really good job by him finding Jariah in that corner.
Students really active in the game, weren't they?
They were.
And there's a nice 2-on-1 for those guys. And it gives UC the lead by 1. But this is back and forth now down the stretch.
Yeah, and this kind of game I expected it to be. Real tough shot, good shot there by Elijah. Gives us a 2-point lead.
And the Golden Hurricane up by 2 at that point.
Real tough shot by them in the corner there. It's kind of back and forth right here at this point in time. And, again, there's some more transition buckets. When we get the ball in the front court, moving it, we got some good open looks.
And this is when the ball game was going back and forth, and TU takes the 43-41 lead. Moments later, and there's that triple team we were talking about with Martins, and he was strong with the ball.
Yeah, and we just got it out. We got the ball to the other side. There were open looks over there once we got it out of there.
And that gives Tulsa the lead at 46-44. 5 minutes to go in the game, and Lawson Carita nails one for you.
Yeah, good pass there by Elijah to give us a 3-point lead with less than 5 minutes to go.
And again, here's really good early offense for you.
Again, just in transition. We go up, I think we go up 6 right here.
Yeah, and at this point, with the score 53-51, you get a huge 3 from Taplin. And with 2 minutes to go, you're up by 6. You're up by 56-51. You would make it 57-51. They make a 3, and then they get this 2 with about a half minute to play.
Yeah, and that was tough. When they cut it to 1, we get fouled. We only make 1 of 2, and then they make this jump shot right here and send it to overtime.
The only fortunate part was that Broom had his toe on the line, and so TU now in a tie game, and they end up after a turnover with an inbound play with 1.2 seconds to go, which was intercepted, and now we go to overtime. Early on, you were able to take advantage of the 3-ball.
Big squeezing of the defense there by Lawson. Nice pass to Quan, and he knocks it down.
And again, UC ties the game, and then DeQuan makes a 2-pointer there, and you're up 63-61. You got to feel pretty good about the way the flow is at that point.
Yes, and then they get a transition bucket here and one that really hurt us. And we took a bad shot. You didn't see that part of it that caused the transition bucket. And Cumberland makes a couple plays here in overtime that gives them the lead, and they finished the game off the right way, but. You see, they shot the ball. We did a decent job guarding a 3-point line, but we shot the ball extremely well from 3. And the free throw shooting, I think, struggled down the stretch too.
Yeah, a couple of misses in that final minute of play for TU from the free throw line, but the big positive was 14 3-pointers in the game for TU, and certainly that was something that was important for you in the game. You made those threes, just didn't win the game.
We did, and we've been struggling shooting the ball, so we needed to start to shoot the ball better, and it was good for us to have a game like that.
We'll see if Tulsa can recover in Dallas against SMU. We'll be back with highlights of Tulsa and the Ponies next. We're back on the Frank Haith Show. A little bit later on in the show, we're going to have a feature called If You Had Only One Food to Eat the Rest of Your Life, What Would It Be? So start thinking about that, because the players are going to answer that question a little bit later on in the show. Coach, after the Cincinnati game, the hard thing is how do you recover from a tough one like that? And you only had 1 day in between, right? Yeah,
you're getting on a plane going to Dallas the next day after that loss, and you're preparing for a game against a SMU team on the road, a good team on the road. So it's difficult, but I thought mindset was in a good place going into the game.
So it's TU taking on SMU at Moody Coliseum, and it is a place that has seen a lot of great basketball games between these two. As TU, I thought in the early going, you really were aggressive and did a pretty nice job.
We were. I remember 12-11. That's the score I remember. And then all of a sudden, we had a couple turnovers, and they blocked some shots, and we looked like we lost a little confidence and became tentative.
And again, you have that double team on Martin Zigbanu, and it opens up a 3-pointer for you.
That's the first play of the game, and Martin's passing the ball better out of double teams, and people are going to double him. They're going to continue to do that.
And your instant money off the bench this year is Jariah Horn, and he has the step-back jumper there.
It looks very similar to some of the shots we've been seeing here in the Cincinnati game, where he faces up. Like I say, he's got real good touch. Should have been it. And one there. A good drive out of the Quan to the basket.
Jeffries with the basket to make it 10-8. And moments later, You end up with another three-pointer, and there's that 5-point play that we talk about. Jariah seems to come in, he makes a 2 and a 3, gives you 5 quick points off the bench, and you're up 11-10.
Yeah, 11-10 now. You look at the score, it's 11-20. We had a bunch of turnovers there and got tentative, and now it's 11-23. We didn't keep scoring, and execution was not as good. And Jariah actually kept us in the ballgame. There he is hitting another 3.
Yep, and that gets you back to a 9-point deficit. And a chance to cut into it even further, and there's Curran Scott nailing a 3 for you. And so now you're stabilized at 23-17. Unfortunately, they go on a run after that.
Yeah, I think it was they go on like an 8-0 run right after that. Actually, that's part of it right there, where we loose ball just didn't go our way, and they end up getting it and turn it into a layup.
Good ball movement.
Good ball movement, and then Lawson going to the offensive glass, tipping it in.
And Lawson seems to make a basket just when you most desperately need it. And here he is on the penetration and kick.
Yeah, and that's good basketball, but you see we're down here, but that was a good paint touch by Lawson. Good transition play there by Daquan, throwing back to Jariah for another 3.
And that kind of helps keep you in contact, so to speak. At halftime, you're only down by 11, right?
Exactly. We're in play, so I feel good about us. If we could just shore up, securing the basketball. We had some bad turnovers there. They got them back in it, and then they got some second chance buckets too.
Yeah, they were winning the rebounding battle, no question about it. But your shooting percentage, you're running your offense fairly well, aren't you?
We are. When we got shots, when we didn't turn over, we had 7 turnovers, and we got some bench production, but all of it was for Jariah. But I thought if we could get back into securing those 2 things, rebounding and not turn the ball over and get FGAs. And we came out with good energy here in the second half.
Yeah, you score the first, I think it was first 5 points of the second half, right?
Yeah, and we cut it to 6 here, and then the play was you don't have it on here, but the turnover in the back court and hit a 3.
This is a 3-pointer where Curran Scott gets the and one because that ended up being goaltending coming off the backboard. And so this free throw, after he makes the free throw, then that's kind of your high water mark at 38-32. And as you mentioned, we didn't have the highlight of this, but there was a turnover. Martin Zigbanu got the ball, and unfortunately it slipped out of his hands, and they end up getting a 3, and that kind of turned the tide.
It went from 6 to 9, then they hit it, and McMurray hit another 3 right after that. So good drive by Tap. Finish. Hopefully we can get to see more of those where that's old Tap getting in the paint, making plays.
And he's getting deep, like on that play right there, getting deeper than he had maybe the last few games.
And that's a good possession right there, and that's what we need more of offensively.
And you can see we get toward that midway point of the second half. You would score the next 7, I believe, and get it to 60-49, which is, again, you're in contact.
You're in contact with, over 10 minutes left to go in the game.
And here's Taplin with that drive again. Good to see that. Good to see him getting all the way to the rack.
We've been missing that for the last couple games, but he's starting to get back his rhythm back, hopefully, and driving the ball. And this is another good play by Martins, finishing, and you can see we're 60-49 with a little bit over 9 minutes left to go in the half.
And at that point, you're playing good defense and securing the rebounds, and that helped you get back in the ball game. But unfortunately, they went on a run.
McMurray hit some tough 3s on the other end, and Jaguar. Both of them hit some big 3s. One was off a second shot where we didn't come up with a rebound. So again, you look at, I think we gave up 19 points of second chance points, 20 points off of our turnovers, or vice versa, but almost 40 points off of those 2 categories. It's tough to win games when you do that.
Yeah, and then in the second half down the stretch, you didn't shoot it as well as you had maybe in the previous 60 minutes or so. The last 10 minutes or so just didn't go your way.
Yeah, and we Martins and Daquan are 2 of our most important people on offense, and we didn't get a lot out of those guys offensively.
So a tough road trip to Dallas for the Golden Hurricane, but again, the season is early for TU, and it'll be UConn coming in on Wednesday. That's the next game, and it's a home game here at the Reynolds Center, so we will see you here. We'll be back with more in a moment. We're back on the Frank Haith Show, and the question is, if you had one food to eat the rest of your life, what would it be? And Coach, you got any idea?
I would have a salad.
Salad,
You change it all out every day with maybe a little shrimp, a little chicken, a little,
like
salmon, whatever.
It'll make your wife Pam happy, right? Because
Yeah.
she wants you to eat well.
I think she's watching this show.
There we go. I would say Raisin Bran, as long as I could put some bananas in it. All right, well, we asked that question to the players. One food for the rest of your life. What would it be?
Pancakes, most definitely. I'm eating pancakes just because pancakes taste the best. You can eat them any time of the day. You can put strawberry syrup on it. You can put maple syrup on it, blueberry syrup. You can do anything with them. They got the right amount of sugar, and they just good. They give you energy, or they can put you to sleep. Whatever you want them to do, that's the best. Chicken wings. I love chicken wings. Hot wings, flats only, with ranch. You gotta have ranch. My mom, but if I can't get my mom's, it's probably IHOP. Shout out to IHOP.
I don't know, I like food, so.
I mean, I'm not picky. If they good, they good. But down here, I go to Rosé's. That's my go-to. They're cheap. Because they fluffy. They break apart, and they just got enough bread in it to where it's not just like too thin. And some people's pancakes, they just like hard. I don't know. Like they don't, I should better cut my pancakes with a fork and not have to use a knife, you know?
I'd have to say macaroni. Velveeta, probably shells and cheese. Ooh, some type of chicken. Baked, I like baked chicken.
One type of food I could eat is my mom's meatloaf. It's great.
Other than Nigerian food, which would be very obvious for me, but other than Nigerian food, I would eat Spanish food.
Some garlic powder, a little onion powder, black pepper, maybe a little bit of salt. Not too much, just a little bit though.
That's just the texture of it, the ketchup on top, and I gotta have the burnt edges.
One type of food I'm going with for the rest of my life, my mom's homemade mac and cheese. That's the one thing I go for.
I personally don't cook it, but I eat it, so I just know that's the seasons that we use. Martin's cooks a lot, and my girlfriend as well.
For me right now, it would be some, I go to this place called El Tequila, and they have this, it's called a tequila steak, and it comes with steak, shrimp, and rice, and chicken enchiladas, and it's like the best thing ever. So I could eat that forever.
If I could eat only one type of food, it'd be tacos. She just makes it with love, It's just every taste, every time I pick it up, I know, oh, this piece is gonna be real good. Like, she made this with love, she made it just for me. It could be my tacos, my mom, and my mom's tacos. A cup of love, I know it is, because she put a lot of cheese in it, so the cheese is the love, and that's what makes it good. For all you mac and cheese fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. So that's what it is, the cup of love, the cup of cheese.
We're back on the Frank Haith Show. Busy week coming up for the Golden Hurricane, at home against UConn on Wednesday and then on the road in Orlando on Saturday. Obviously, in this league, tough to win on the road. Boy, you better hold serve at home, huh?
Absolutely. You talk about a UConn team that beat SMU and went to overtime at Cincinnati, and they're playing really well right now. They got great guards. And then you obviously go on a road play, the team that picked to win the league in Orlando. So another tough week, but our league is going to be like that night in, night out. You got to be ready to play.
And this is a tough first half for you, let's be honest. These are some difficult games you have early on, and just got to continue to be competitive, right?
Absolutely. You got to give yourself a chance. And Wednesday's a really important game. We're coming off 2 straight. We can't drop another one if we want to stay within the conference race, and which we want to be.
Absolutely. The Hurricane taking on UConn again on Wednesday. We'll see you at the Reynolds Center. Get your tickets at 918-631-GO-TU or TulsaHurricane.com. For the coach, I'm Bruce Howard. We'll see you next week.
The Frank Haith Show, brought to you by Don Thornton Cadillac, Pepsi, River Spirit, TTCU, the Credit Union, and St. Francis Health System. The Frank Haith Show has been a presentation of Golden Hurricane Sports Properties and a Kane Vision production.